Hello everyone and welcome to the hands-on demo on AWS config. So in this demo we will verify AWS config rules are set up. So we will set up 3 rules: encrypted volumes, S3 bucket version enabled, and restricted SSH. Then we will create an unencrypted EBS volume and attach to EC2 instance. We will create S3 bucket without versioning, and we will create a security group with OpenSSH. Basically we will create 3 scenarios which will violate these 3 AWS config rules. Then we will trigger rule evaluations. Then we will review non-compliant resources in AWS config dashboard, and finally we will clean up all the resources. So first step is to log in to AWS console and enable the rules. So I am at AWS console and I'll search for AWS config. Click on AWS config. So if it is your first time, you will see this screen, get started and one click setup. So just click on get started. So I click get started, and first time you will get this particular screen where you have the settings where it will ask for recording method. So I'll just say all resource types with customizable overrides and continuous recording. And after that, resource type, all globally recorded IAM resource types, and override exclude from recording. So because all globally recorded IAM resource types are initially excluded from recording to help you reduce cost, because they are very resource intensive, or they are very frequent operations. And IAM role for AWS config, so just select the default, create AWS config service linked role and create a bucket. So just choose the default name, so it will just put the AWS account ID at the end, and click on next. Then herein you can select the rules which you want. So there are 154 rules at the moment, and you can select the rules. So you can just go through this particular list, and whichever rules are required as per the business requirement, you can enable them. But for the lab, I will be enabling 3 of them. So we have seen this screen and settings, all these things, data governance and the bucket. So first rule that I will enable is S3 bucket versioning enabled. So basically this rule will check if you have the versioning enabled for your S3 buckets. So this checks whether versioning is enabled. And the next rule is restricted SSH, and it will check whether the security groups that are in use disallow unrestricted incoming SSH traffic. So sometimes we open the all traffic on SSH port, so it will check for that particular condition. So I'll select this. So this is the second one. And third one is encrypted volumes. So this will check if the attached Amazon EBS volumes are encrypted, and optionally are encrypted with a specified KMS key. The rule is non-compliant if attached EBS volumes are unencrypted or are encrypted with the KMS key not in the supplied parameter. So in our demo, we'll just use whether they are unencrypted or not. So I'll paste this rule and select this. So basically now I have 3 rules which I will check for non-compliance. And we have resource types which we have excluded from recording. So that was the first setting. Then resource types with default settings, so just keep it default, and delivery method, and finally we have AWS config rule and the 3 rules which we want to monitor. Click on confirm, and you can see service linked role created successfully, S3 bucket created successfully, and you successfully signed up for AWS config. And now it will show all the rules resources. So this is the dashboard looks like, and then you have non-compliant rules by non-compliant resource count. So basically this will take some time for this to populate. Then AWS config usage matrix and success matrix. And you have conformance pack. Basically you can deploy your own conformance pack, which is a collection of AWS config rules and remediation actions. So there is remediation also that can be automated. So this can be deployed and monitored as a single entity in your AWS account. And these are the rules So as you can see, immediately this one triggered because I have got 3 buckets which are where I have not enabled versioning, and these two are hasn't been either not evaluated or there is no suitable conditions. So now I will be triggering the rules manually. So we have seen all this. Now we will create the scenario. So for this I will launch AWS Cloud Shell, and first I will create an encrypted EBS volume. So search for Cloud Shell. You just click on Cloud Shell here. So I'll just explain what this code is doing. So I am creating EBS volume and I'm running this command instead of manually creating it via user interface. So AWS CLI, use EC2 service, create volume and volume type GP3 1 and availability zone US East 1A, and query volume ID and output text. So this will create the EC2 create volume, and it will query for volume ID and it will save in this particular variable, and then it will just print out that. So I copy this snippet of code and open this in a new tab. I will come back here and close this, and this will launch Cloud Shell, and I will run this the command to create the volume. So you will see it is automatically has picked up the region which I am working on. So I will paste the snippet of code and press enter. So it has created the volume with this particular volume ID. Next I will be I'll just find out the latest AMI ID by running this command AWS EC2 describe images, and this will give me the latest AMI ID. So I have the volume and AMI ID, and then I will find out the subnet ID to basically have the volume which is attached to a EC2 instance. So because this is a 3-step process, so I have to run this 3 commands. So this has saved this AMI ID in this particular variable AMI ID, and lastly I have to get a subnet ID. And I have the subnet ID also. Then I will launch an EC2 instance. So I will run AWS EC2 run instances. The image ID, that's why I have to save it to a variable. Subnet ID, I am saying instance type T2 micro, and I want to launch one EC2 and output the instance ID to this particular variable. And herein I have I'm just running this command to describe subnets and saving that, because this is required in the next command. So now I run the command, copy the whole command and paste it. So this has created the instance and saved the variable and waiting for instance to be running. So I'll copy this. Okay, and now lastly I am attaching the volume to the instance. So the reason why I have to run these 4 steps is because the EBS volume must be attached to a running instance. Then only the rule will be evaluated, or it will trigger for a violation. So now it is going into attaching state, which is good. And now I will try to manually trigger this AWS config, this particular rule, start config rules evaluation. This is the command and this is the service, and finally the rule name. So I am saying trigger this only. So I copy the command and I will manually trigger the rule. Okay, now I will go and do the second scenario where I will be creating a S3 bucket. I already have 3, but this command will create a bucket. So S3 API, AWS S3 API, create bucket, the bucket name and the region. So bucket name I just test config bucket and the date. So let's clear the screen, and now I am on the scenario second. So S3 bucket is created and this is the name. Now I can manually trigger the second rule. So I'm again saying AWS config service, start config rules evaluation, the command and the rule name. So I have triggered the second, but okay, when calling the start config rules evaluation, max retries. So you have, okay, because I have just triggered, so I have to probably wait for some time. So I'll come back to it later. I will create the third scenario meanwhile. So here I am creating a security group using AWS EC2 create security group command and the group name and a description, and just query the group ID. So it will save the security group ID in this particular variable. And then I will add a SSH rule to the group ID. So this is the one which will trigger the violation, because we are saying open this particular incoming traffic from anywhere and on port number 22. So we are opening the port to the whole world. So this has added the rule to the security group, and if I will try to manually trigger the AWS config service rule. So this time it has triggered successfully. Let me try and run the second one also. Okay, this is anyway we have the violation, so that's fine. Now let's check out the we'll wait and check in AWS config whether all the rules have the violation being captured or not. So we come here, I'll just refresh the screen. So as you can see, now all the rules got triggered and they have captured the non-compliant resources. So this one I'll just show you. Let's say if I click here, I'll just close this and it will show the all the buckets which have no versioning enabled. So basically all of them. And the second rule, encrypted volumes. So this is showing the 2 volumes. So when EC2 is launched, it will have its own volume and one which we have attached. So it is showing both the volumes is unencrypted. And lastly, the third rule, which is the open restricted SSH and security group security group ID. And if I click this, it will show the rules which is applied. So I can just show one of it. So let me go to EC2. So I just open this in a new tab. So if I click on security groups, I'll open volumes also for meanwhile to show the volumes which are unencrypted. So this is the security group which I have created, and this one has got this inbound rule which is open for the public. So this is the source, so it's incoming all on port number 22. And same way here I have got 2 volumes which are unencrypted. So if I just click one of them, there will be no encryption. So this can be seen from not encrypted. So that's why the rules have triggered violation. So we have seen all this. Now I can just delete all the resources. So just delete the EC2 first. So I come here and open the EC2 instances, and the one which is launched, I can just come here, terminate delete instance, let it get deleted. Next I can delete the S3 bucket. So go to the S3 service. So just select the bucket which we have created and click on delete. Copy the bucket name and click on delete bucket. And now I can delete the volumes also. So if I just come here and click on refresh, so one is already gone and the other one is the one which we have attached. So I can just select that and click on delete volume, type in delete and click on delete. So the volumes are also deleted. And now I can delete the security group also. So come to the security groups tab and select the one, actions, delete security groups, and click on delete. So the security group also deleted. So now, because all the resources are deleted, so it should be now in a compliant state. So if I go to the AWS config and click on go to the rules, so let me try to let's say actions and reevaluate. I'll take other one also and reevaluate. So this is getting evaluated, and if I just refresh, let me try the other one. So this will take some time to actually get evaluated. Otherwise, if you just leave it, it will have its own frequency check, wherein after some time it will keep checking whether the rules are in place or if there are new violations, and it will show up here. So let me try once again. Okay, so let's wait. So as you can see, one of the rule has gone to the compliant state. So after, if you wait for some more time, this will also go to the compliant state. And some rules can take some time. It can take up to 1 day also. And this one I will not trigger because I don't want to enable versioning. So I just want to keep it as it is. And that's all. Thanks for watching.